So here's what we're going to do today. First of all, if you've been around any of my trainings, if you've gone through any of my videos or seen me speak anywhere, I have a tendency to talk really fast. And so because of that, it's really because I want to cover so much valuable content for you. And because we have an hour together until 3 o'clock, I'm going to really respect your time, and so I'm going to do everything that I can to wrap up by 3 o'clock. But I promise you that if you stick around for this entire training, you'll have a whole new perspective on what it takes to set up a wildly profitable marketing funnel. And so what we're going to be talking about today is exactly what the screen says, is how to set up your first $100,000 marketing funnel using the 5 pieces of the 6-figure funnel formula. And so you understand where this material came from. So many of you may not know that just a few days ago, we launched a brand new training over at Marketing Funnel Automation. And prior to that training, prior to releasing that training, we released a series of 4 really in-depth, really comprehensive training videos for free to the public about these 5 pieces of the 6-figure funnel formula, why they're so important, why they work so well. And the response was really incredible. We got hundreds of comments. We had something like, I don't even know, 26,000 views of the videos. We exceeded our Wistia bandwidth like 5 times. It's been insane. And I share all that with you, not to rub it in your face if you missed any of those videos, but to let you know that what I'm really going to do today over the next hour is condense the most important components of those 4 videos down for you into one single 60-minute training. And so because of that, because there's so much to cover for you, I am going to go at lightning pace to cover as much as I possibly can for you. Now, we're going to talk about the 5 main pieces of the 6-figure funnel formula. The 6-figure funnel formula is a specific process from A to Z for taking all types of traffic, cold traffic, paid traffic, does not matter, and converting that traffic into new customers at an extremely high transaction value. Now, I'm fortunate in that I get to work with a ton of different clients at all different levels as it relates to building, optimizing, setting up, and engineering all different types of funnels. And I can tell you that this funnel and the 5 main pieces, this is the easiest way that I know how to create a marketing funnel that will allow you to generate a minimum of 6 figures. And it is built off of simple technology that anybody can use. So compared to a lot of the other funnels that I build or optimize or help clients or coaching students set up that use things like Infusionsoft or Office Autopilot or some advanced technology, this entire funnel can be set up using technology that is well under $100, using things like Aweber, which is a $19 a month email autoresponder service, using any kind of web page design application like Lead Pages, for example, or 10-minute pages or Optimize Press. And so nothing that you're going to see today is beyond your ability, regardless of what level of marketing skill and experience you have. Now, we're going to start off when we get to the 5 main pieces of the 6-figure funnel formula, and you're going to see a much bigger version of this map later on, so don't panic if you can't see this. I'm going to show you the full map and walk you through the 5 main components. The first main component is what we call the traffic captivation page, and this is very different from the typical squeeze page or lead generation page that most online marketers are taught to use or that most are using. This does not use any kind of lead magnet. You'll understand why, and you'll understand the different components later on of why you don't want to use a lead magnet in the typical page. This does capture the contact information, specifically email address of visitors, but we're going to break down what this page does, what it's designed to do, the psychology behind it, and why it works so well to bring cold traffic into your marketing funnel. Then we're going to talk about what's called your customer captivation offer, which is the first offer, the first page that prospects come to. And you're going to see very quickly why this is a low hurdle, low barrier of entry offer, but it is not the typical, ultra low price $7 or $9 report that you see so many people using. You'll understand why you don't want to use those when we get into customer quality and when we get into what's called the transaction maximization sequence, which is the next part of the six-figure funnel formula. The transaction maximization sequence is a big part of why this funnel formula produces such high transaction value new customers, meaning that it'll create customers for you that are worth multiples of the value of what your competition is generating. Now, this is not the typical upsell sequence. In fact, this is not an upsell sequence at all. This is what we call an add-on sequence, and you'll understand why the typical upsell sequence that most marketers have been taught to use and that most marketers are using is absolutely not the way to go, and you'll understand and you'll see it right away when I show it to you. So it's really, really sweet, and I'm going to show you what makes this transaction maximization sequence so powerful at, like I said, jacking up the transaction value, jacking up the amount of money that every new customer spends with you. And we won't have time to go through the entire sequence, but I will break down for you the very first offer in that sequence so that you can understand what it is, price point, why it works, the whole nine. Then the fourth component, or the fourth main piece, is what we call the amplification autoresponder chain. And this is not your typical email autoresponder follow-up, not the typical linear, let's send a series of emails. You'll understand how this, which is really an integrated series of mini email sequences, how this autoresponder chain works with the transaction maximization sequence to jack up your transaction value even higher. You'll see how it's automated, how it's triggered based on prospects' behavior and prospects' actions, and you'll see and understand how the entire thing works. It's actually amazing that we figured out a little while ago how to make this work with something as basic as Aweber, because typically we've only been able to make this work up until just a handful of months ago with high-end expensive CRM systems like Infusionsoft or Office Autopilot or some others that are even more expensive, upwards of $7,000, $8,000. And so I'm going to show you how this works with some simple technology like Aweber. And then we're going to wrap up and probably go through very quickly talking about what's called the prospect remarketing sequence. Now, look, before we jump in and before we get rocking and rolling as it relates to these five main pieces, I would do you a massive disservice if we didn't start out talking about the main element of your marketing funnel. I heard Joe mention that earlier. Somebody asked, how do you, how do you identify what the main problem is with a marketing funnel that's not converting? Well, I'm going to tell you right now that the overwhelming majority of problems with marketing funnels start with and stem from what I am about to show you. And what I'm about to talk about is hands down, bar none, the most important marketing lesson that I've learned in the 12 plus years that I've been doing direct response online. There is nothing else that is more important than what you're about to learn. And what I'm about to show you is the foundation of the funnel. It's the foundation of any funnel, every marketing campaign, and it will make or break your campaign. I don't care what the copy is. I don't care what you're offering. I don't care how great the offer is. If it's not built with if it's not built on the right level of what's called marketplace sophistication or understanding marketplace sophistication, your conversions are going to suffer. On the flip side, when you understand marketplace sophistication and we're able to build your marketing message around the right level of marketplace sophistication, you will rock beyond what you can imagine. And in many cases, it really is just that simple. And so what marketplace sophistication is really all about is it tells us what hook or big idea, and I'm going to walk you through a 4-step process in just a few minutes on how to develop your marketing funnel hook and big idea. Very easy, very simple, and when you get those 4 steps, you'll be able to nail it. But marketplace sophistication tells us what hook or big idea, what marketing angle you need to use behind your marketing funnel so that your specific prospects in your specific niche or marketplace for your specific product will respond to. And marketplace sophistication also tells us which hooks and which ideas will be ignored or discounted. And I'll explain to you what the different levels of marketplace sophistication are in just a minute so that you really get it. Understand that every different niche with every different product, regardless of whether it's real estate agents, individuals that are going through a divorce and looking for information or a service on successfully going through a divorce, gardeners, people interested in weight loss, scrapbookers, it does not matter. Every niche for every product has is at a different level of marketplace sophistication. And it's knowing what that level of marketplace sophistication is for your particular prospects in your particular niche that allows us to build your marketing funnel, your marketing hook, your marketing idea, so that it grabs their attention, so that it seizes their interest, right? It generates their interest and it gets them to respond. And so it starts by understanding that there are 5 different levels of marketplace sophistication. And I'm going to walk you through these, right? I'm going to give you an overview of how prospects progress through these different levels. And I'm doing this for you so that you can begin to understand, and you're going to see very quickly when I show you this, why it is critical that the rest of your funnel, that the rest of your marketing message be built off of the right hook or big idea based on the right level of marketplace sophistication. Now, marketplace sophistication tells us that as your prospects are exposed to more and more advertising and marketing messages, that they, as they're exposed to more and more claims, more and more hooks, more and more ideas, more and more benefits, just hyped up claims and whatnot. Well, over time, they become less and less responsive to certain marketing funnel hooks and ideas. They become less and less responsive to certain hooks, to certain messages, to certain promises. The things that used to work no longer work the way they used to as prospects are exposed to more and more messages and progress through the 5 different stages of marketplace sophistication. So let me give you an example to really just drive this home, and then I'll break down the different 5 levels for you so you really grasp this, right? So let's take fat burning supplements. So at one point in time, there were no fat burners, right? There was no fat burner on the market. There was no fat burning supplements. There were still obviously people that wanted to lose weight, that wanted to trim inches, that wanted to get in better shape, but there were no fat burners. And then, all of a sudden one day, a company, an entrepreneur, a guy, somebody came out with the very first fat burner, right? And so at that point, when fat burners first hit the market and the first fat burner was released to the market, the only thing that needed to be said to those weight loss prospects was take this pill and you'll lose weight. That's it. Take this pill and you'll lose weight. And because those weight loss prospects hadn't been exposed to that type of marketing message before, right, they were still at the first level of marketplace sophistication. They had never seen any kind of promise like that. They had never seen any kind of marketing claim like that. Nobody ever promised to deliver that end result to them by taking a pill. And so they responded to that level 1 marketing message because they were at level 1 in terms of marketing sophistication. Now, let's fast forward to today, right? With all these different fat burners, with all these different products out on the market, all these different claims, all these different promises. Now, let's say that you and I got together to create us as partners, as a group. We got together to create and launch and release our own fat burner, right? And we went to Joe and we had Joe back us with all the money to launch this. Right. Well, imagine what would happen today, knowing what the marketplace looks like, knowing what else is out there, knowing what else weight loss prospects have already seen and have been exposed to in terms of claims and promises, hooks and ideas. Imagine what would happen today if we tried to release our new fat burning supplement to the market and all we said in our marketing, all we said in our advertising was take this pill and lose weight. What do you think would happen to us? Well, we would get clobbered. We would barely generate sales and we would lose a boatload of money in the process. Why? Well, because today weight loss prospects are no longer at that first level of marketplace sophistication. So they no longer respond to that level marketing message. They no longer respond to a level 1 marketing message like take this pill and you'll lose weight, because they've seen it, they've heard it, and they've progressed to at least level 3 of marketplace sophistication. So let me give you kind of a fast overview of what the 5 different levels are. So at level 1, which is pretty much a green marketplace, right? They've never seen your type of product before. They've never been promised to reap the outcome or the results, let's say, of a particular product via a particular mechanism. So at level 1, all you have to do is tell what your product does. Meaning all you have to do is tell the prospect what the benefit is. Take this, do this, and you have XYZ happen. But like what happens in all niches, in all marketplaces, what happens is over time, competitors come in and competitors begin to knock each other off. Savvy marketers see what other marketers are doing and they begin to knock off that same marketing message or very similar marketing message, just worded differently. And so what happens, like what happens in every niche, in every marketplace, is that prospects progress to the next level of sophistication. They no longer respond the same way to that initial level 1 marketing message. Now at level 2, what happens is, at level 2, marketers begin to expand the marketing claim, meaning that it no longer becomes take this pill and you'll lose weight. Now it becomes take this pill and you'll lose 7 pounds in 7 days. And like what happened before, marketers come in and marketers begin to expand the claim even more, right? Marketers go from take this pill and you'll lose 7 pounds in 7 days to take this pill and you'll lose 17 pounds, or take this pill and you'll lose 13 inches, take this pill and blah, 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 right? They begin to expand the claim. Well, at a certain point, prospects no longer respond to just an expanded, blown up claim. For example, today, if we said, take this pill and you'll lose 100 pounds, prospects wouldn't believe it. It would lack credibility. It would lack believability, right? Because prospects are no longer at that second level of marketplace sophistication. They've seen it, they've heard it, the expanded claims are maxed out. And so now what happens is prospects progress to the third level of marketplace sophistication. At the third level of marketplace sophistication is where what's called the unique mechanism gets introduced. And the unique mechanism of a product or service, and this is where the majority of marketers are at in a majority of niches and marketplaces. They're between level 3 and level 4. In some cases, in extremely crowded marketplaces, they're at level 5, which I'll quickly explain to you in just a second. So the unique mechanism is the unique component of your product or service that delivers the results that you are claiming your product will give people. So for example, if we introduced some kind of weird rainforest bark into our product, and we said that, it's this rainforest bark that prevents the absorption of fat in your intestinal tract, well, that becomes the unique mechanism, assuming that we're the only ones at the time that are using rainforest bark, in our product. That becomes the unique mechanism. And when you introduce a unique mechanism, it gives hope to the prospects. It adds a level of believability because they have a reason now to believe that maybe this product is different. Maybe this product, right, will work because of the unique mechanism. Now, it's just like, if you followed the supplement arena at all, and there are some savvy marketers in the supplement arena, they have to be because of how extremely competitive it is. Well, maybe you've seen ads or advertisements for Garcinia Cambogia. Well, Garcinia, when it first came out, right, Garcinia was the unique mechanism. The first product that added Garcinia into it and was able to explain what it is that unique mechanism did, well, what Garcinia did, that was a unique mechanism. And so that product started flying off the shelves. Now, just like what happened before, other marketers come in, other companies come in, they see what's working in other niches and other marketplaces like they should, with other companies like they should do, and they should pay attention to. And so now multiple products began to carry Garcinia, and so it was no longer the unique mechanism. And so prospects move to, as it relates to those supplements, to level 4. Now, before I tell you what happens at level 4, I just want you to understand that if you've ever watched an infomercial or multiple infomercials, anytime you've seen the infomercial say the secret is in the German steel or the secret is in the XYZ, well, anything that they say after the secret is in that what comes next is the unique mechanism. They're trying to tell you that their knives cut through cement and cut through soda cans and cut through, whatever it is that you try to cut through and never dull. And they say the secret is in the German steel. Well, that's why that's what gives the result. That's why it doesn't dull. That's why it cuts through everything. That's those knives, that's their unique mechanism. Now at level 4, it kind of functions very similar to level 2 in that the claim is expanded a little bit, and so but the claim is expanded with the unique mechanism. So then it's no longer just our product contains Garcinia, it's our product contains pharmaceutical grade Garcinia, or our product contains pharmaceutical grade Garcinia at 2 times the amount that the other companies do, and that's level 4. And then of course level 5 is less about the actual product or the unique mechanism, and it becomes about identification for the prospect, for, like, are you tired of taking pills and not losing weight? Are you tired of dieting and exercising and not losing weight? And so what I want you to understand, the main reason why I've shared this with you is because rolling out a marketing funnel with an immature marketing message, a marketing message that is built on a marketing hook or a marketing idea or a marketing angle that prospects have seen multiple times before, rolling out a funnel with a marketing hook or idea that is not of the sophistication level of the marketplace is responsible for more marketing funnel failure than anything else. It's not about the tactics, right? It's not about whether, do I put a countdown timer on my add-on offer page, my upsell offer page? Do I have a video on my, my traffic captivation page? Do I have a video on, do I use a long form sales letter? Do I use a video sales letter? Do I use a red font? Do I use an orange button, a yellow button? Do I price it at this amount, that amount? Nothing matters until you've got the marketing message nailed based on the right level of marketplace sophistication. And so it's critical for you that we identify a hook or big idea for your marketing funnel that's appropriate for the marketplace sophistication level of your specific prospects. And I'm going to come back to, like I said earlier, I'm going to come back to and I'm going to show you and walk you through how to construct your hook using 4 simple steps. And I'm going to walk you through an example hook and show you how that hook is built on the 4 different pieces of a solid marketing hook in just a couple of minutes. Once you understand the level of marketplace sophistication for your specific prospects, then it's time for us to go to the first component of the 6-figure funnel formula, which is your traffic captivation page. Now, I said earlier that your traffic captivation page, even though, yes, it does capture the email address and only the email address of your traffic, it does not function the same way the typical squeeze page does that's used by the typical online marketer. The typical online marketer uses what's called a lead magnet. And a lead magnet is usually a free piece of information or a free, like a PDF or a video or an audio or a combination of those things, or a free tool, a free calculator, a free resource, a free piece of software, something like that. And they use that simply to generate a list that they can then follow up with. Well, that strategy of what's called 2-step marketing, right, where you generate a lead first, and then you plug that lead into a totally dialed follow-up system, like I'm going to show you and share with you in just a minute, has its origins in the godfathers of direct response marketing, guys like Dan Kennedy, Gary Halbert, Jay Abraham. And when they rolled out many moons ago, when they rolled out 2-step marketing, the way it was designed to get the interested, qualified prospects to raise their hand and identify themselves so that we could then follow up with them with our marketing and sales material. And I'm going to explain I'll explain something that most marketers don't understand in terms of the difference between selling and marketing in just a minute. But so the goal was never to just build a list of looky-loos, of tire kickers, of freebie seekers. See, that's what happens to the majority of marketers that use a lead magnet. That, let's say there's a marketer that is selling, I don't know, a marketer that's using, that's selling, a Facebook marketing or Facebook advertising training course. And that marketer decides as a lead magnet to give away a variety of images that people can use with their Facebook ads, right? Or images that can be used with their Facebook ads and on their Facebook page. Well, just because somebody raises their hand and enters their email address asking for images that they can use in their Facebook ads doesn't mean that they have any interest whatsoever in getting a Facebook advertising course. And so what happens for a majority of these marketers is that they generate a low responsive list, a list of people that are just a list of people that where a significant percentage are looky-loos, are freebie seekers. What the traffic captivation page does is it takes your marketing hook, your marketing funnel hook, and along with 4 other elements on the page, but the hook is the most important. It simply presents the hook and generates prospects based on those that want to learn more about the hook. And so by using the traffic captivation page to present your hook and generate prospects based on that hook, we're able to then put people that have a high level of interest into your funnel. And you'll understand how the customer captivation page and offer picks up and turns those individuals interested in learning more about the hook into new customers. Now, before we do that, let's talk a little bit about, well, what is a marketing funnel hook or big idea? Well, really, it's a lot simpler than what most marketers think, right? So a marketing funnel hook or big idea is nothing more than the marketing angle that you're using to grab your prospect's attention and present your marketing message and product or service to the marketplace. It's really nothing more than how are you positioning what it is that you're going to share with them? How are you couching? How are you presenting the information to the market so that it does grab their attention, so that it gets them excited, and so that it gives you the ability to present your product or service to them in a way that is highly compelling? And so we need to develop a hook, right? And so the hook is built on 4 different elements. There are 4 simple elements to a rock solid marketing funnel hook. The first one is prospect identification. This is the part of the hook that gets prospects to see that what you are talking about, what you are presenting, is specifically for them, right? People want to know, people want information that is designed for them and their specific situation, their specific need, their specific problem, their specific obstacle. And so prospect identification takes care of showing them this is for you, and specificity of situation addresses the specific situation that they're in, the specific problem that they are facing, the specific thing that they're dealing with, or it could be, in some cases, the specific desire, specific want, specific outcome that they're ultimately looking for. But I will tell you that the highest converting funnels, the highest converting marketing messages in general address a specific problem, and the more urgent that problem is, the higher your conversion rate will be. So part 2, specificity of situation. Part 3 of a solid marketing funnel hook is proclamation of a new idea. Now, this is a new idea to prospects. It's not necessarily new to you or a new idea in general, but it's a new idea to the prospects. And the final component is a big promise. And the big promise is just the piece of the marketing hook that conveys what's the end result going to be? What's the outcome going to be, right? And in an ideal world, what you're looking for is you're looking for the big promise to be exactly what the target market, the target prospects would want. What is it that they hoped they would be able to experience? So again, we're identifying who we're talking to. We're showing them that this is for you and your specific situation. We're proposing or proclaiming a new idea, and then we're showing them how that new idea will fulfill the result that they want. So Let me give you an example of a hook, an example hook, and this is totally made up, but I want to show you this hook so that you can see the 4 different components. So here it is. If you're over the age of 54 and behind in saving for retirement, there's a little known new investment vehicle that guarantees to double your net worth in 6 years. Right? So just going back for 1 second. So this is an example marketing funnel hook, and this is the main component of the traffic captivation page, right? So there are a few other elements on that page, but this is the most important. Like I said, I was going to give you the most important keys to the 6-figure funnel formula today. Now let's break this hook down so that you can see the 4 different elements at play here. So we've got prospect identification. That's if you're over the age of 54, right? So prospects that are over the age of 54 can identify with this and they immediately see this is for me, right? And behind in saving for retirement. That's specificity of situation. That's the specific situation that they are in, right? Now, here's the thing, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but you don't want to go too specific so that you're only dealing with a tiny percentage of the market. Like, let's say you were offering a solution to individuals that were over the age of 54, that were, that didn't have enough in retirement, were behind in their savings and investing, and you had a solution for them. Well, you don't want to say, right? You wouldn't want to say if you're over the age of 54 and 23 years behind in saving for retirement, because again, you will exclude a significant percentage of the market. And so we want to say it general enough so that it's got broad appeal to your target segment, but we want to nail their specific situation. And so whether they're 10 years behind, 15 years behind, 12 years behind, 6 years behind, this would resonate with them. Then there's a little known new investment vehicle. That's a proclamation of a new idea, right? It's a new idea. And this is the aspect of the hook that creates massive curiosity because we don't tell them what it is. So it's this proclamation of a new idea without telling them what that new idea is. You'll see where that comes into play on the customer captivation page in just a second. Then we've got that guarantees to double your net worth in 6 years. That's the big promise. So, right, if you're over the age of 64 and behind in saving for retirement, there's a little known new investment vehicle that guarantees to double your net worth in 6 years. This is why when you present a hook like this, that's why you get quality prospects coming into your funnel, not just suspects, not just anybody that's interested in investing, not just anybody that's interested in Facebook advertising or getting free graphics or a free tool or a free scoring sheet, but you're getting specific individuals that meet the specific situation, that have an interest in learning more about this new investment vehicle because they want the outcome that your hook is promised. And so that's where the next piece of the 6-figure funnel formula takes over, which is the customer captivation offer page. Now, the customer captivation offer page, without getting into the different elements on this page, what I'll tell you is that this gets delivered, this marketing message gets delivered with a video sales letter. And typically the video sales letter that you want to use is John Benson's ugly video sales letter. You don't need to have music. You don't need to have all of those bells and whistles. You simply want a presentation, and you want it to have the look and feel of a presentation, right? Because we're not going to bring them to a page that's got, a displayed add to cart button and has all music and bells and whistles, because it'll set off that trigger and that filter right away. And so what you want to do is you want to have a simple VSL. We don't use a header, we don't use a headline, and we do not have a displayed add to cart button on that page. Those are a couple of the few keys that you need to understand to make this page work. Now, let me tell you, I don't have time to go through all of the steps of the customer captivation video or offer sequence, but I want to tell you a couple of key things, and pay attention to this because this alone will radically improve your marketing. And so I mentioned earlier that most marketers don't understand the difference between selling and marketing, and there's a huge difference, right? When when selling is talking about you, talking about your product, talking about the features, talking about the benefits, talking about the offer, talking about the price, talking about the guarantee, talking about the bonuses. Anytime you do that, you are selling. Marketing is when you're talking about the prospect and you're talking about their specific situation, their specific problem, and how they can solve that problem. So the first 40%, and it's like the first, there are 18 steps to like 18 pieces to a customer captivation VSL. They're, most of them are really small little chunks, but I think off the top of my head, I think it's the first 8 are marketing. The rest are selling. Let me explain what I mean by that. And so let me give you a broad view of the marketing component of the customer captivation offer video. And this is like, this applies to all marketing, right? This broad view that I'm about to share with you applies to all marketing. When you start the customer captivation video, it picks up with where the prospect is at right now, right? So I want you to understand that the job of your marketing is to really bring prospects through 3 different stages. The first stage is, right, like you want them to associate your product with bringing them from where they are right now to where they want to be, to where they want to wind up, to where they want to go, right? So we start with where they are. Then we're going to introduce the solution, and we're going to show them how the solution, and you're going to understand this in a second, the solution is not your product, not your product. I'll get to that in a second. And we show them how the solution will give them the result that they want, right? And so it's kind of like, the 3-act play, if you will, where it's, it's the main character, the protagonist and the character starts in a situation, right? They start off, and they come face to face with a situation. Then they discover something, and because of that discovery, they go on to experience success and overcome the situation. So what we do here is we start off the video, with where they are at, the problem that they're dealing, the specificity of situation. And then I guess the easy way, or the kind of the simplest way for me to explain this to you, is we take their situation and we remind them of the situation, and we remind them of why that situation is a problem. So taking the example from the example hook that I just showed you, so you're behind in retirement. Well, what is the problem with being behind in retirement? Well, right, that we would lay out for them the problems that they know now, the problems that they're aware of, the problems that drove them to your traffic captivation page and got them into your funnel. Then we go a step up and we agitate the problem. And that's where we future pace what it is that's going to happen to them if they don't take action or don't take the right action to solve their problem. So in this example that we've been using, it's if they don't take the action to solve their problem of being behind in saving for retirement, if they don't take the right action or they don't take any action, what is their life going to look like, right? What's the outcome going to be? What's the result going to be, right? They're going to maybe have to work for a lot longer than they want. They're going to maybe have to cut back on their lifestyle, move out of their home, not be able to take vacations, not be able to do the things that they want. We're not trying to hype it up. We're explaining, we're quote unquote teaching them what the result is going to be. We're making sure that these people are aware of what is going to happen if they don't take the right action or don't take any action at all. Then we introduce them to the solution. Going back to the example hook that we just used, the solution is the new investment vehicle that guarantees to double their net worth in 6 years. Right? And so we're still at this point not talking about your product. We're not selling them. We're segueing from agitating their problem and future pacing by saying, fortunately there is a solution. In fact, there's a brand new investment vehicle that virtually guarantees to double your net worth in 6 years. And so then you present that solution, right? You present that new investment vehicle and you show proof that investment vehicle works, that it does what you are claiming it does. You're still not selling because you're still not talking about your product or service. Up to this point, what we've used is education-based marketing. We've educated them. We've educated them on their current problem, their current situation, and why it's a problem and what's going to happen to them. We showed them if they don't take action, if they don't take the right actions, what's going to happen to them. You could have even, depending on what your hook is and what you're selling, shown them what those incorrect actions are, right? And then we're introducing them, we're saving them, and we're introducing them to this solution, and we're offering proof for why this solution does what we say it does. Now, the thing that I want you to understand right there is that what we've done is we've done marketing, and we've created the desire for them to know that new investment vehicle. We get them to the point where now they want to know what that new investment vehicle is. That's when you segue into introducing your product or service that fulfills on that, right? Then it becomes easy. Then it becomes, that's why Peter Drucker, one of the greatest management gurus of all time, said the job of marketing is to make selling superfluous, to make it unnecessary. When your marketing is dialed and it's built like I've just explained to you, right? Selling is easy. Selling becomes now, well, what I've done for you is I've taken this new investment vehicle and I've created a full-blown report and training that shows you how to get started with it, how to get in with a low budget, how to multiply it, how to grow it, and how to have it do X, Y, Z for you. And here's what you get with this full-blown training program that walks you through everything. See, at that point, the prospect wants it, and they're thankful and grateful for the opportunity that you're giving them to learn more about this new investment vehicle that you just presented. And so that's what the customer captivation page and customer captivation offer does. Now, after that, we bring the new customer, and let me just say this, that the customer captivation offer is a lower priced offer, not a low priced offer. It's not one of these low $7, $9 reports, because I want you to understand that not all customers are created equal, right? Not all customers are identical, and the way you generate customers will have a massive impact on the value of your customer base, right? There are some customers that you'll acquire that will be worth multiples of what other customers could be. And it's your job to acquire customers that have the highest potential for high lifetime customer value. That means that they have a high potential for spending a significant amount of money with you. And when you generate bottom feeder customers, you have a lower likelihood of not only maximizing them through what I'm about to explain to you, the transaction maximization sequence, but they have a tendency to be much lower valued customers over the long haul, which forces you to have to acquire that many more customers. And customer acquisition is the most expensive activity in any business, even solid direct response businesses. Now, the transaction maximization sequence is not your typical upsell sequence. In fact, like I said earlier, it's not an upsell sequence at all. It's what's called an add-on sequence. Now, the typical marketer is taught today to use an upsell sequence. And the typical marketer is taught that you should offer higher and higher priced products, to new customers. So a new customer comes in and buys a $29 or $26 product. And then the average marketer is taught to make them higher and higher priced offers. And the one number that gets tossed around all the time that I just think is insane, is ridiculous, is that you should charge 3 times the price, up to 3 times the price. So if you sell a product for $33, let's just say, well, the first offer that you show somebody should be an upsell offer where you sell them something for $99. If they buy the $99 product, the next product that you offer should be $300, and so on. Well, that is insane. Offering a product to somebody at 3 times the price of the product that they just bought is ludicrous. Where in the world can you go where you will find a successful business that makes offers to new customers that are 3 times the price of the product that they just purchased? Nowhere. You go and you buy a car for 80 grand. They're not going to they offer you, they'll offer you an extended warranty. They offer you, unlimited oil changes. They offer you things that are at a fraction of the price of the car. They don't offer you something that's 3 times the price of the car that you just bought. You go through a drive-through at McDonald's, at Wendy's, at Burger King. It doesn't matter. They're gonna offer you. They're gonna give you add-ons that will allow you to enjoy your Happy Meal or your meal, whatever it is, but at a fraction of the price. When a man goes and buys a suit for $2,000, he's not offered something for $6,000. He's offered a shirt at $350. He's offered a tie at $200. He's offered a pair of shoes at $175. He's offered things that are add-ons that will make the buying experience better, that will allow him to reap greater value from the initial product. Right? Because that is existing consumer experience. That is within the boundaries of what consumers are used to and expect and accept. And so the transaction maximization sequence, most specifically the first offer in that sequence, leverages existing buying experience and psychology. So just for example, there are 4 transaction maximization offers that run through the 6-figure funnel formula. There's the reverse add-on, the soft add-on, the mid-tier add-on, and what's called the thank you page gift offer. I'll tell you just for time purposes, because it looks like I've got 20 minutes left, and then we'll do Q&A if there's any questions or time for everybody. But the reverse add-on is always, it's an add-on, not an upsell. It's always at a percentage of the customer captivation offer, and of course it's always congruent, like all transaction maximization offers are, and it continues to solve the problem or situation either faster or easier for the new customer. The one thing that I want you to understand is that yes, the transaction maximization sequence jacks up the transaction value of your typical of your average customer. In fact, it's not uncommon to see the reverse add-on converting upwards of 60%. We've got one reverse add-on offer that for almost 5 months now is converted between 62 and 63% on a regular basis. That means 62 out of every 100 customers take advantage of that offer. Do you know how radically that can change the transaction value for you? How that can radically increase the amount of money that a new customer is worth to you? And I'll tell you that all else being equal between you and your competitors, the competitor who's got the highest front-end transaction value can afford to spend the most amount of money to acquire customers, can afford to use traffic channels that competitors can't, can afford to pay more per click, can afford to pay more via CPM, can use channels that competitors can't because competitors just can't afford to because they don't have the same high transaction value. And sure, the transaction maximization sequence does that, but the other thing that it does, see what a lot of marketers don't understand, and this might be a little bit advanced, but I just want you to get this because this is so insanely important for you guys and gals, that what most marketers don't understand is that there's a second purpose to the to add-on offers, to the transaction maximization sequence. There's actually 2 additional objectives. Number 1, the first objective is I want to get more of my products into the hands of new customers, because the more of my stuff I can have customers exposed to, right, the more they will bond with me, the more they will trust me, the more they will view me as an authority, the more they will see that I deliver the goods, the more I can help them, and therefore the more likely they are to buy my next back-end offer, right? My first back-end offer. This is why I would rather have 1,000 customers that buy an additional product at $1 than have, out of 1,000 customers, only one customer buys the offer for $1,000. Same amount of money in the end, but the reality is that if I get 1,000 customers to take an add-on offer, that means they're being exposed to more and more of my teaching, more and more of my philosophy, more and more of my stuff, right? They're spending more time with me if they're going through videos, audios, reading, they're bonding with me more, there's a deeper relationship. And so that's another objective, and that's another reason why this type of add-on process crushes every other process. The final component, just very quickly, is that is that it helps you to identify your highest value customers, right? When you use this transaction maximization sequence, you'll see very quickly who your highest value customers are so that you can plug them into a different marketing sequence on the back end. Much quicker and different timing. That's a little bit advanced for this, but it is another objective and it is another reason why this transaction maximization sequence is so valuable long term. The next component is what we call the amplification autoresponder chain. And in a nutshell, what this does is this provides, and it's all automated, this provides prospects with a second chance to take any one of the add-on offers that they skipped when they were going through the initial ordering process. So compare this to the typical internet marketer who, you know, not only are they offering upsells that are just outrageously priced and missing out on, you know, further indoctrinating and further bonding with new customers and identifying, you know, the highest value customers. They're typically making these things as one-time offers. So they're presenting them as one-time offers so that if somebody skips an offer, they don't have the chance to go back and get that same offer. Well, what the six-figure funnel formula does is it adds a whole nother level of monetization by taking individuals that have gone through your a step, that have gone through your funnel, let's just say, your offer sequence, and let's say they took advantage of the customer captivation offer and the reverse add-on and the soft add-on, but they didn't take the mid-tier or the thank you page. Well, what the amplification autoresponder does is it picks up right here. It'll thank them for these purchases, but then it'll thank them for this purchase, but then it will plug them in for starting 24 hours later for 2 days to a follow-up sequence that gives them a second chance to go back and get the mid-tier add-on offer that they skipped. So if they took the reverse add-on and the soft add-on, they won't get a second chance offer for those. They'll just get a thank you message. Right? And this is all automated. And so let's say somebody comes in, they take the customer captivation offer, and that's it. They get plugged in right here, and they get the opportunity to consume, they get a second chance to get the reverse add-on, right? Because now they've been exposed to your product. They've seen the value. They get that you deliver the goods, right? And that it's over the top. And so now there's a different level of trust. So we want to give them a second opportunity. And so we've got this second chance to monetize. Now, a couple of things make this insanely powerful. Number one, it will always pick up at the latest point where they left off. So if they left off here, it'll pick up here. It won't go back here. It'll start where they left off in the sequence. The other thing is that it will give them the opportunity to get every offer that they missed going forward. So let's say they took the customer captivation offer and they skipped the reverse add-on, but they took the soft add-on and then skipped the rest. So they took the customer captivation and the soft add-on. Well, it will not go back. It'll go forward in value. It'll pick up here. It'll give them a second chance to get the mid-tier. And then if they grab the mid-tier, it'll then give them a second chance to get the thank you page gift offer. So it's just an insanely powerful system that works on autopilot based on where prospects have left off. And like I said, it's sick that we were able to figure out a way a couple months ago to automate this whole thing with something like Aweber for $19. Right? Not a crazy expensive tool like Infusionsoft or Office Autopilot or something like that. Then the fifth main piece is, these are not all the pieces, but these are the main pieces, is the prospect remarketing sequence. There's a specific 7-day sequence that goes out that we use to prospects who come into the traffic captivation page and don't take the customer captivation offer. And that's more of a traditional email autoresponder system, if you will. Now, for time purposes, if you'll just indulge me for the next 13 minutes, I want to very quickly tell you about the six-figure funnel formula and why this is just an insane training program for you. And let me tell you what it does.
Hey,
well,
Todd.
first, yep. Hey, Joe.
Todd, real quick.
Sure.
Just want to get a head count from everybody so far. Who here has enjoyed the last 50 minutes or so? Has it been mind-blowing? I've seen a couple crazy comments in the chat. Would you guys just please thank Todd? There is going to be an offer right now. He's got a launch going on. He was very honest with you guys at the beginning. He's got something for you guys if you want more. But I just want to know who's learned like just a crazy amount of stuff so far. I mean, this has been nuts. I've been taking notes feverishly. That doesn't really happen that often, and that's why I brought Todd on the line for you guys. So thank you guys so much for indulging me for a second. Sorry to interrupt, Todd.
That's okay. Cool. No, I love it. And I'm going to make you, I'm not going to, for time purposes, I'm not going to tell, we made a stellar, unbelievable, we've put together a stellar, unbelievable offer. I think this is, in the 12 years that I've been online, this is hands down, bar none, the best offer I've put together. And if I could say, I believe there is no other offer that is as good as the offer that you are about to see. And that was done intentionally, right? I wanted to release this program because I've spent so much time, energy, and effort into this thing, making this thing the absolute best training program that I possibly could, that I wanted to get this in as many hands as possible within reason. And so first and foremost, there are a few different components. There are 5 different components of this program. The first component is that there are 12 modules broken down into individual lessons. So, easily digestible, easily consumable lessons that walk you through the entire 6-figure funnel formula. So module 1, for example, walks you through how to identify the marketplace sophistication level for your market, how to assess the competitive landscape so that you understand how to create a hook, a big idea for your marketing funnel that stands out, how to create your specific marketing funnel hook, and so on. And so module 1 lays the groundwork for your entire funnel. Module 2, we do something a little different, and I walk you through the strategic elements of how to create the perfect customer captivation product, how to create the perfect front-end product that does what a front-end product is supposed to do, right? Delivers value, exceeds expectations, but also sets up the sale of your first back-end offer. And I walk you through a specific set of tactics, for how you do that in your product so you're not blatantly selling or marketing, but you're strategically designing your product so that there's a marketing element. Really quick, one of the things that most novice average marketers don't understand is that the big boys of direct response, like when I worked with Jay Abraham and Clayton Makepeace and Michael Masterson, I got to see that when their companies were creating products, they didn't switch into product generation mode. There wasn't like marketing mode or marketing mindset and then product creation mode, product creation mindset. They always held onto a marketing mindset. Every product that you create should serve a marketing purpose. That doesn't mean that it shouldn't deliver the goods. Oh, it should deliver the goods. It should blow people away, especially your customer captivation product, a front-end product, because of the fact that it's the first experience that people are having with you. And so you want it to be over the top, stellar, insane, like I wanted with the 6-figure funnel formula. But at the same time, of course, there are marketing elements in there. And so you'll learn all about that in Module 2. Module 3 is all about the traffic captivation page and process. And so you'll learn how to take your hook and communicate that hook on that page. You'll learn the 5 elements. You'll learn how to set up the page layout, how to have the page posted, the whole 9. Module 4 is the customer captivation offer, where I show you how you construct your customer captivation video, all the 18 steps. I show you how to construct the offer from A to Z, how to present the offer, the layout of the page, the elements of the page, the pricing of the offer. Module 5 is all about the order form process. I show you the 5 different elements of the highest converting order forms, and I show you a sick technology that I have nothing to do with that you can use for one-click upsells, one-click offers throughout your entire funnel. If you don't have access to that now, works sick with Aweber. Module 6, I walk you through all of the transaction maximization sequences, offers, the add-on offer, the soft offer, the mid-tier offer, and the thank you page gift offer. I explain the elements of each, price point for each, how to present each, the angle of each, the whole 9. Module 7 is all about the amplification autoresponder chain. Show you how that gets set up in Aweber, how it gets automated, all the automation. There are like 12 automation rules that'll power the whole thing for you. And then I even walk you through the 8 different mini email sequences that make up the amplification autoresponder chain, tell you what each one does, the objective of each, the psychology behind each, and I break down for you the number of emails in each, the timing of each, and the themes behind each of those emails in each of the 8 different mini sequences. Module 8, very quick module where I just show you how to fulfill digital information products if that's what you sell, the 3 different ways, including one way to do it for free. Module 9, I show you all of the tracking, which is sick, using another simple $19 tool that allows you to track all of your marketing funnel, all of your advertising, so you can see how many clicks, how many leads, how many sales, how much total profit, total cost, what your return on investment is, opt-in rate, the whole nine. I show you how to track all of your add-on offers the whole way through every single funnel so that you can very quickly see which traffic sources are making you money and which ones will not make you money. Module 10, all about the 5 main marketing metrics behind your business, what they are, why you need to know them, what they tell you, and most importantly, how to make decisions based on those metrics. It's one thing to know what marketing metrics are, and to know what the marketing metrics are that you should look at, and to even know what your marketing metrics are. It's an entirely different thing to know how to make the right decisions for your business based on those metrics. Module 11 is all about how to optimize your 6-figure funnel, how to take it from just an average 6-figure funnel to a powerhouse funnel. I show you the tool. I show you a free tool you can use. I show you the tool I use. So that you can optimize this bad boy out the wazoo. And then in Module 12, I introduce you to the back end, how you need to begin thinking about the back end, product creation for the back end, and how to set up the sale for your first offer, your first back end offer. Now check this out. These were these are some of the comments from the first 48 hours after we opened up registration. We just opened registration a handful of days ago. So you got William, who said, this course is just blown out the water, the saying you get what you pay for. Todd's given us the deal of the year. Plus, it's so rare. His teaching method doesn't leave you with more questions, but with a clear understanding. You got Mike that said, I couldn't stop watching the videos. It's a great product. Renee, ideas are popping in my head. Phyllis, I only watched module 1 and 2, and my response is just incredible. I only wished I had this information 10 years ago. Kay said, listen to module 1 yesterday. Lots of notes, lots of good ideas. Rebecca, the course is absolutely superb, quite the best I've ever been on. And Todd, your teaching is so clear and concise. Here's more. These were all from the first 48 hours, and these were unsolicited feedback that came in, which just blew me away. Honestly, without sounding corny, it got me choked up to see this. Sylvia said, I've gone through the first 3 modules and all I can say is, wow, feel very fortunate to have the opportunity. Dushan said, totally blown away. Man, you're a talent at teaching with clarity, communicating, and blah, blah, blah. Graham, really digging the content. Dale, the content is amazing. Michael, I'm blown away. I watched all the videos and purchased. I made it through module 1 and I'm blown away. Henry said it's pure gold. Alec, the training absolutely rocks. These are comments on the Facebook group, which I'm going to tell you about in a second, right? Buford said, I'm so glad I invested in this training. I feel like my business will take an exponential leap. Blake, I've taken 8 pages of typed notes. At this rate, he said, I'll have a 96-page book for you. Very valuable information. Can feel the inspiration coursing through my veins. Dave Hornbeck said, I'm about to start module 6, but before I do, I have to take a minute to say that I've learned enough already to justify the cost of this course, and I'm pretty sure I'm about to get into some heavy stuff. Wow, some of us are going to take this and just blow the lid off. Robert said, thanks for the awesome course. Your training has made me rethink everything I thought I knew about the funnel process. Michael, I've only made it through module 1 and I already feel I got my money's worth. Amy, I've learned so much that the other marketing gurus do not tell you. Thank you, Todd, for this training. I'm starting. Brent, your training makes the rest of the marketing out there look like a ghost town. I share this with you just because I want you to feel confident knowing this is the bomb, right? That's not me saying it. That's all of these other people that said it within the first couple of days. Now, the videos are just one of the components. The next component that you get is access to what I call the ultimate collection of marketing funnel cheat sheets. This is a collection of, I think, 13 or 14 cheat sheets that I created for myself and my team for all different areas of creating your marketing funnel. These just are a little nicer for you guys, right? So there's a traffic captivation page cheat sheet, one on product creation, one on VSL, one on your add-on offers, one on stick strategy for reducing refunds and cancels, one on follow-up, one on long-form sales letters, one on the creating offers, one on the order form, one for subject lines, one for running an evergreen webinar, one for tracking metrics, and there's more that I couldn't even fit on here, one for the 6 main persuasion elements that should be in every funnel. You not only get access to these, but you get access to all the new cheat sheets that I'll be adding over the next week, over the next coming weeks and months as I create more from myself and my team. The next component that you get is something that I call the Six-Figure Funnel Formula Discount Resource Directory. Now check this out. I wanted to offer discounts on a variety of different resources, not resources that you need for the Six-Figure Funnel Formula, but just great resources. And I wanted to do it in a way where I didn't get any kind of affiliate commission. So we've got resources in here on things like email marketing, running evergreen webinars, Facebook advertising, media buying, solo ads, marketing automation. We've even got a discount on one of the most popular training events, the recordings, the DVDs in there, and there's more. And you'll get access to that entire resource directory as well as all the new offers that we generate for you. What I did was I went to these vendors and I said, what's the commission that you would pay me on this? And they said, 50%. Some said 45%. I said, well, take the commission that you'd pay me. Don't pay me the commission. Just give a special discount for my Six-Figure Funnel Formula people. Create a special page with a special discount. I don't want any commission. I don't want anything. I want you to pass it on to my clients. That's what you'll find in here. So you get access to these and all the new ones that we'll be adding in there for you. Then what you also get is you get access to me for 4 weeks for group coaching. There are 4 weekly group coaching sessions where you get to get on the phone with me and talk about your particular hook, your particular market level of sophistication, your particular traffic captivation page, your customer captivation offer, your add-ons, your products, your email follow-up, whatever it is that you want, anything and everything, you get to ask me for 4 weeks. These are starting, if I'm not mistaken, next week, right? We close down. This offer goes away not tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and that's when we're gonna kick in the following week with these 4. And so you get access to those. If you can't make them live, you can ask questions in advance and then listen to my answers on the recordings. Then you also get access to, like I said, a private members only support group where you can interact with all the other members. This was taken a few minutes after we went live, so today you'll find at least half of the people, I think, that have already registered have gotten in there, so that there's a couple hundred people that are in that group that you'll get to interact with, and the group is extremely active. So you get to ask questions, get insight, get feedback, have other members take a look at your stuff, make suggestions, and so on. Finally, the last component is the biggest bonus that I've ever offered that I think is worth more than the entire tuition in the Six-Figure Funnel Formula training program. And I'm calling it the 30-day look over my shoulder session. And here's what it's about. You get access to this for free when you enroll today in the Six-Figure Funnel Formula training program. After this offer closes on Wednesday, within a handful of weeks, probably about 6 weeks, this will be sold for about $500, $497 separately. And so here's what this is about, right? So I'm going to create a brand new funnel from scratch and from A to Z using the Six-Figure Funnel Formula in a brand new market that members of the Six-Figure Funnel Formula training program are about to choose. This week, you'll have the opportunity to vote on what niche I go into. And I did that just so that you see that I'm not going into a niche that I have affinity with or connections. You guys and gals are going to get to choose. And then I'm going to create a brand new funnel from scratch and from A to Z, and I'm going to video the whole thing for you, giving you video updates 3 days a week for 30 days. I'm going to show you how I assess the competitive landscape, assess the marketplace sophistication, create the hook, craft all the offers, set up all the pages, all the add-on offers in the transaction maximization sequence, set up all the follow-up sequences, set up the amplification autoresponder chain, the order form, the whole 9. And along with the videos, I'm going to give you commentary the whole way, telling you what, when, where, and why I'm doing everything so that you can see the entire process live as it's being done. You'll see an entire funnel built from scratch from A to Z. And then if that wasn't enough, we're going to hold a little contest, customer-only contest that you'll hear about as a member when you enroll today. The winner of the customer-only contest is going to get the actual funnel that I built. I'm going to hand them a complete done funnel that they could do with what they want. They can use it. They can start a business around it. They could sell it, whatever it is that they want. They're going to get the entire funnel that I build. And so who knows? That could be you. Now, the guarantee is you can go through the entire program. Take full 30 days, go through the whole program so that you could see everything yourself, put it into action, see if it does everything that I've said it will do for you today, and then you can decide if it's right for you. And if not, no biggie, just shoot an email over to my support staff within 30 days from the date of your purchase, and you'll get a full refund of everything that of every dime that you spent. So everything that you get lifetime access to all the training modules and handouts. You get the ultimate collection of marketing funnel cheat sheets, the ones that are in there now and all the new ones that'll be added over the weeks and months to come. You get the customer only discount resource directory, access to all those discounts as well as the new ones we're going to be adding. You get access to the private Facebook support group. You get access to the 4 weeks of group coaching calls with me, and you get access to the 30-day look over my shoulder videos and session for just one payment of $297. That's it. There's no continuity. There's no membership. There's nothing else that you need to pay. It's just one payment of $297, and you can get everything by going to sixfigurefunnelformula.com/Joe Troyer, JoeTroyer. And there you go. And so that is it for me today, Joe. If there are any questions, I'll take those questions. 4 minutes and 41 seconds over. So I think I did pretty good.
You did a great job, man, and a absolutely crazy offer for sure, man. $297, lots and lots of value in there. What I wanted to do too is just do another bonus, if that's okay with you.
Sure, absolutely, of course.
So the two things that we've been absolutely killing it with right now are Facebook ads and retargeting. So pretty much most of them in the internet marketing space, but even outside of kind of our little internet marketing space, going into other niches, and it's been working out just as well for us. So what I want to do, Todd, is give everybody a bonus, and what I'm going to do is get you guys on a quick hangout training. It'll probably be 30, 45 minutes, and just actually log into all my Perfect Audience accounts, my Facebook account, and just walk you guys through exactly what I'm doing and the funnels that I have set up and what's working for me right now. So hopefully that'll kind of help you guys jumpstart with Facebook ads and retargeting as well. I mean, you guys have seen the screenshots on my wall. We're doing really, really, really well with Facebook ads and retargeting. So just want to throw that in for you guys as well.
Oh, actually, as crazy as this sounds, this is so funny. I forgot a bonus. That is so hysterical. You made me think of it, Joe. What we did was also to help jumpstart your traffic. What I did was I had my director of business development, Andy Hassan, go out and get the four of the top traffic guys. Jonathan Mizell, who's like the godfather of media buying, Goer Chaudhry, Justin Brook, and Charles Kirkland. They will be participating in a live, what I'm calling Traffic Masters Roundtable with me, where they will be sharing for Six Figure Funnel Formula training clients how to get started driving profitable paid traffic into your funnel. So you'll get the opportunity to hear from the four of the sharpest minds as it relates to traffic generation and what they would do for their first six-figure funnel in order to drive traffic, starting with a tiny budget and generating a profit right away. And so you'll get to attend that live, ask questions, and you'll also get the recording from that as well. So that's something else that you get when you enroll today. Keep in mind, just as a reminder, this offer, it does expire Wednesday night at 11:59. And so I highly recommend that if you have any interest, go and grab this bad boy. That's when our official launch, ends. And so you can get everything that you see here, plus the Traffic Masters Roundtable and the bonus that Joe is gracious enough to give you by just going to sixfigurefunnelformula.com/Joe Troyer. And so with that being said, Joe, are there any questions for me?
Yeah, I got a couple questions. If you guys have any more, just type them in here. Frank just said, Todd, you're way too cheap.
Yeah, it is. It's
So let's
crazy.
see.
But for this, I just think, you know what? My whole goal, can I really quick, just for time purposes. So I'll tell the story, the 60-second story that I actually shared when we were leading up to the launch of the six-figure funnel formula. So first of all, this is my first official launch for marketing funnel automation .com. I did a ton of launches when I was running the marketing at Strategic Profits for with my buddy Rich Sheffrin. But this was our first official big launch for our new brand. It's about a year old, and so we really wanted to do something insane. About a year ago, I had this experience where I was watching a set of videos from another well-known marketer, and leading up to the launch of a product, and I was really digging the content. And I was like, wow, this is off the charts. I love this stuff. I forget what it was for. But I said to myself, oh man, this dude's definitely going to price this at like $1,500. And I was fully prepared to spend $1,500. But I was like, trying to see like, all right, what's this price point going to be? And I remember when he revealed the price, it was nowhere near $1,500. And my immediate response was like, oh my gosh, that's just an incredible value. Like just an incredible value, lopsided, return on investment, if you will, in my favor in terms of the value proposition. And so when I was thinking about, we were originally going to price this at $9.97. We even thought of $14.97. I said, you know what? I want everybody to have that same reaction that I had. I want everybody to see this, be like, wow, this is a sick training. And then when they see the price, be like, oh my gosh. And so that was the whole thought process that went into pricing it that way. And I think people really have appreciated it. And of course, look, I want to develop long-term relationships with folks that I can help go from their first funnel to their first six-figure funnel to their second funnel and to a seven-figure funnel, and help them with all the other trainings that I will have and have now. And so, yeah, man, that was it.
Awesome, man. John says, what are the future plans for this programs, or where are you wanting to take it next? Are you going to reopen it, or what are your plans?
Yeah, so what's going to happen is it's going to close to Wednesday night at midnight. And then what's going to happen is it's probably going to open up in a couple of weeks again, except when it opens up again, it is not going to include the 30-day look over my shoulder. It's not going to include the group coaching calls. Excuse me, it's not going to include the Traffic Masters Roundtable, and it's going to be $497.
Okay, awesome. So save $200, and they're not going to
save $200 and get the group coaching with me, like get the ability to get on calls with me every week for 4 weeks, which to me I think is really priceless, but I could be biased. And of course, the 30-day look over my shoulder, to me, I think that'll be an eye-opening education and an experience, to say the least, for everybody involved. And so, yeah, and then it'll be $497, not $297.
Awesome. Let's see. Steve has a question. He says, Todd, when you have a higher priced monthly software program, $500 plus per month, what would you recommend is the best time to approach them in your marketing so you do not scare off the prospect right away with a higher ticket item?
Well, I think it's really the way I would answer that is it's less about when you approach them. Like, let's assume for 1 second, just to keep things real simple, because there's a lot of variables, but let's just say that that's the only product you have. You don't have any other options for trials or for a light version or anything like that. You only have a $500 a month software. And I used to sell a $500 a month software to professionals, to doctors. And so I'm very familiar with doing that. It's less about it's less about thinking about where in your marketing you should present the $500, and more about what is the marketing that you're doing to get them to see the value in the software before you even present the price point, and getting them to see the return on investment, or what they stand to gain with the investment in the software, so that when you present the $500, it seems like a drop in the bucket and it's a no-brainer for them. And so that's really the key. One of the things that I teach and show my higher level marketing students how to do, the folks that have gone through the main marketing funnel automation coaching program, which is a lot more advanced for a lot more advanced marketers, is, what is it that prospects need to believe to buy? You have to know what that is. excuse me, like with a $500 piece of software? What is it that they need to believe so that at the end they are able to buy? And kind of the analogy that I use with them is like, look, it's like if you were a prosecutor and you were prosecuting a murder case, and there was a jury, there are things that jury needs to believe in order to find, the defendant guilty, right? And if you leave out one of those things or don't get them to believe one of those things, well, then they're going to have a really hard time coming to the conclusion that person's guilty. Well, the same mindset applies when you're selling a high ticket type of software. What is it that they need to believe both about themselves, their situation, their market, their need, their problem, your product, your company, and the price point in order for them to buy? And so once you've done that, then, that's the appropriate time to present the price point. Make sense?
Great answer. Great. Definitely. Makes a lot of sense to me. Awesome.
Cool.
How long does it take to get through the core modules, Todd? Is that a couple hours?
Yeah.
Maybe on the length. We've got a couple people that are really interested, but you know how some of the courses get. It's like you could just spend weeks literally learning without getting out there.
Yeah, no, some of the people, there are people that actually went through the entire training in one sitting, in one day. So you certainly can consume all of the content in, I think, and this is just a guess, so don't hold me to this, but it's somewhere between, it's somewhere in the ballpark of 4 hours.
Okay.
And every video, every module is broken down into tiny lessons, tiny chunks. So you've got some lessons that are 3 minutes, some lessons that are 8 minutes. No lesson is more than, I think, 20 minutes. Most are within the 10 to 13 minute range. Some modules have 2 or 3 lessons, some have 6 or 7 lessons, but very easy to consume. The training portal is broken up so that all you got to do is click one button to go on to the next video. Every module has an intro video. Every module has a recap video, and you literally can just push one button and go through each of the modules. As well, like 90% of the modules have downloadable handouts as well as downloadable videos. So you can download the video lesson and you could download the slide handouts. The only lessons that don't are the actual screen capture ones where I'm actually showing you how to use certain things like Aweber and certain other cheap tools, tracking tool and whatnot. There are no handouts for those. But so it's the easiest course that I've ever produced in terms of ease of use for the user.
Awesome.
Cool.
Somebody says, do they need lead pages? I'm assuming not.
They don't need lead pages. I love lead pages. I recommend lead pages. It's one of a few tools that I show in the program. But no, I mean, we play around with every tool in here within reason that we possibly can, both for our own knowledge and for clients. And so I certainly recommend that you do use a tool, whether it's lead pages, whether it's 10-minute pages, whether it is InstaBuilder, Optimize Press. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense anymore today to have somebody, code something for you. That's just ridiculous. But you don't have to use lead pages. You can use another tool. Sure.
Let's see. John asks, Todd, do you moderate the Facebook group? Not really sure what he's after.
Yeah. Do I moderate it? Yeah, I moderate it. I'm in there. Over the last whatever it's been, 3 or 4 days. Not a huge amount because we're still doing so much stuff to wrap up our launch. We've got multiple webinars and stuff going on every day, and a whole bunch of craziness. We've got a gigantic event tomorrow and then Wednesday, a huge event. But yes, I will be moderating. I am in there. I am giving feedback. But you'll see when you go into that group that it is extremely... It's extremely busy. There's people giving feedback out the wazoo like crazy. There's a ton of interaction. And so I'll be moderating it, but it's also user supported as well.
Awesome. Yep, Eddie, definitely 297 one time. Got a couple that's pretty cheap comments. Here's a good one from Lewis. But again, probably a little too basic for you to make any type of assumption, but let's see what you can come up with, Todd. So Lewis says that he has a $2,000 service that he's selling at $997. Do you suggest adding in some type of scarcity tactic with a timer and an add-on after the sale for $497, or include that add-on at $1,497 special versus $2,500? Which would you do?
Yeah, that's a really tough question for me to answer. You know,
I mean, my feedback would just be, obviously you have to test it.
Yeah,
without
you know,
knowing anything more.
Well, there's so much. I'll say this, that the I don't know. This is probably not the answer that he's looking for, but this is a great answer for him to really contemplate, and this is great for everybody to really think about. You know, I had a six-figure funnel client post this in the Facebook group, and he posted this question of, you know, he said something like, you know, Todd, I love your your approach to acquiring a customer, you know, but what do you think about people that say, you know, you can skip a low cost offer and just go right to a high priced offer? And, you know, like, you know, and he said, like, Frank Kern, you know, did with Mass Control. And so I'll tell you my feeling on that, because it applies to what it sounds like Lewis is asking. You know, number one is that, you know, the game of online marketing changed radically over the last handful of years when we were able to begin doing one-click add-on and one-click upsell offers. For the marketers that are just coming online now, that haven't had any experience before one-click upsells and one-click add-ons were available, when they see old training courses like, not to say that it's dated, but like Frank's Mass Control, or even a lot of the training stuff that I did at Strategic Profits years ago, a lot of that stuff was based on strategies that we can use at the time before the one-click upsell and add-on process. Well, today, because we have the ability to do one-click add-ons and one-click upsells, it's changed what it is that we can now do on the front end that we used to not be able to do profitably. Years ago, when I first got online, you know, 12 years ago, we couldn't do one-click upsells and one-click add-ons like we can now. And so it became very difficult to turn a $29 initial transaction into a $129 initial transaction with upsells, because we used to have to get people to re-enter their credit card every time, creating massive friction. Well, one-click technology radically changed that. And so now it's a lot easier to do that. And so now what that means is that we can very easily turn a $29 front-end transaction into a $129 transaction with our transaction maximization sequence with one-click technology. And so what that means is that now we can create a much lower barrier of entry to get new customers, and then still turn those customers into the same value as if we were selling a $129 product out of the gate. Like, the reality is, if you sold a $129 product out of the gate, sure, you'd get some customers to take it. But the reality is, you'd get a much higher percentage of customers to take a $29 offer, and then with our one-click add-on, you know, our one-click traffic maximization sequence, we would be able to turn a heck of a lot of those new customers, a lot more than if we were pricing it at $129, into $129 customers. And so at the end of the day, the ROI that we get today, because we're leading with a lower cost front end, is a lot higher thanks to the introduction of one-click technology. So you've got to be very careful when you go back and you look at old training courses. You got to look at the context that those courses were created in. And so a lot of these guys that were saying, you know, don't go with a low-cost product, go with a high product, today you see them going with a low-cost product. Right? Like today, you could see Frank rolling with, you know, a free book where you just pay shipping and handling. That's his, you know, what they call his Tripwire, ultimate, you know, really, really low, cheap product. Why? Because again, they've got the ability to take a decent percentage of those people and maximize their transaction with upsells. and they wind up with a lot more customers. And so hopefully that at least gives Lewis something to think about.
Awesome, definitely.
Cool.
I think that's about it. Let's see here. I think we got most of them.
Cool.
Yeah, man, I think that's it, Todd.
Awesome.
So thank you so much, man. I really appreciate, again, you coming on and spending time with my customers and my folks, and just giving so generously. It was definitely an awesome, fast-paced hour. And like I said earlier, I definitely learned a ton, and I know everybody else did.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you opening up your tribe to me. I really, more than anything, I hope that everybody got value from this training, regardless of whether you do wind up inside the Six-Figure Funnel Formula training program. If you do, you'll find right away that it is an incredible value, worth far more than the $297. Even if you don't, I hope you got tremendous value from today. I hope that you learned something new about putting together your funnels, and I hope that you take what it is that you learn, and most importantly, you put it into action. And so, thanks again, Joe. Thank you, everybody, and I will talk to everybody soon. So, take care, all.
See you, Todd. Thanks.
Bye-bye,
See
Joe.
you, everybody.